coming into you live from Madrid, Spain. I don't know how to get this lighting correct. I don't know what's going on here, guys. I don't know what's going on. All I know is that the USD denominated price of Bitcoin is crazy, but I love it like that. You have no idea how much I love it like that. Volatility, well, actually, you know, what's really fascinating to me, right, is that Bitcoin is at historical lows as far as volatility is concerned. Yet in the minds of most participants, its volatility is actually very high. So it's weird to me how the expectations that many of us place on Bitcoin are so enormously high. Do you understand? Compared to anything else in existence. You know, Bitcoin's the best performing asset this year. Bitcoin's the best performing asset last year. Bitcoin's the best performing asset over the last 2 years. And yet it's like, why is Bitcoin not performing? Really? Bitcoin has experienced the most powerful Bitcoin halving in its entire history. What's the matter with Bitcoin's halving? It was a dud. It's the most successful halving in Bitcoin's history. That's crazy, right? So somehow we get lulled, many of us, not me, you get lulled into these nonsensical narratives because you flippantly believe what you read, what some influencer says, or what have you. I think that there's a dearth of people that realize that, whoa, wait a minute, Bitcoin is the best performing asset on planet Earth this year. Bitcoin is the best performing asset on planet Earth last year. Bitcoin is experiencing its most successful halving in its entire history. Like, I hear things like, Oliver, but you know, the Bitcoin spot ETFs meant nothing. What do you mean? What do you mean it hasn't meant anything? It's like we hold, for some reason, we hold Bitcoin to this unrealistic expectation. And if it's not dazzling us, wowing us in unbelievable ways every single day, it's failed. You have to be very careful of these narratives because they can lure you to do the wrong thing for your family. They can entice you to think the wrong thing, which leads to the wrong actions regarding your future. You understand? And it's important to keep your feet on the ground, and it's important to keep these things in perspective. All right. So that is what I actually try to do. All right. Do I still trade Forex? In a way, we're always trading Forex, right? Because you're always trading in the currency that you deem your denominated currency. But specifically Forex, not as much as I have in the past, but not zero either. Forex is an amazing market, but guys, ever since I've sort of become orange pilled on the Bitcoin side of things, a lot of things have changed. A lot of the focus for me has changed. A lot of, I guess, the order of importance of certain things has changed. And that's what Bitcoin will do. It will radically alter what's important to you, what's not important to you. It'll change your time preference, or at least have a dramatic impact on your time preference. And as a result of that, what you deem important must change if your time preference changes, and your overall outlook changes. And Bitcoin does that to you. It sort of helps catapult you outside of a system so that you're able to sort of look from the outside into the system and to pick and choose what's important in that system, yet while being free from that system. It reminds me of an old ancient Christian saying, right? Be in the world, just not of the world. And I feel that Bitcoin has sort of done that for me. It's allowed me to remain in the traditional financial world, but without being in the traditional financial world anymore. So I can see it, utilize it for my benefit in terms of just accumulating more Bitcoin. All right, that's a very deep rabbit hole, which is obviously not something we should go into today, but I largely am still an equity trader. I trade equities for two things. I have traditionally traded equities for as an income producing stream. So I'm one of the fathers of short-term oriented trading, dating back all the way back to the late 1980s. I'm one of what's called the original SOES Bandits. Now, SOES stands for Small Order Execution System, which was which was NASDAQ's first electronic system that allowed for electronic transactions to take place on the exchange without any human intervention. This happened in the late 1980s as a mandate by Congress. In the post-1987 stock market collapse, a small group of traders took the advantage of utilizing this small order execution system called SOES. I was one of the first 8 traders to do that in the entire world. This sort of garnered me one of the reputations for being one of the fathers or the OGs of short-term oriented electronic trading, because I was one of the first traders to utilize the NASDAQ's small order execution system. In 1994, went out on my own and began to basically teach a large portion of Wall Street on how to utilize this system for short-term oriented gains. This system gave us the ability to basically compete with NASDAQ market makers in a way like never before. And as the internet proliferated, it lowered the barriers of entry into the equity markets and sort of democratized or it began a democratization of equity trading by lowering costs. The lower rates, of course, contributed to that. The electronic access, the new order handling rules in 1994. And these things, the reason why I'm mentioning these things, because this era, the era that we're going through with Bitcoin today is very reminiscent of the era that I went through with the democratization of equity trading. Remember, equity trading was largely accessible only by the elite. And if you wanted to gain access, you paid a broker, you paid a registered investment advisor, you paid a mutual fund at the time, what have you. And even if you were very sophisticated, you paid a professional money manager or you paid a hedge fund to gain access to this market. But no one really had access directly except the elite. The electronic movement changed that. Starting in late 1980s, the new order handling rules that took place in 1994 changed that. And decimalization changed that. The internet changed that. So I would say the internet first and then decimalization. And all of those different movements, which incorporates regulatory changes, which incorporates technological advancements such as electronic access. And think about this, Bitcoin is providing electronic access to global property. Like, we've moved property from analog to digital. just like we moved access to equity markets from analog, having a relationship with someone on the floor, the New York Stock Exchange, to electronic access from a freaking computer. Really? New order handling rules in 1994 allowed for every individual on planet, or at least every US American citizen, to gain access to the American market via their own computers and not via a licensed order taker. That's in 1994. And think about the regulatory changes that allows for your regular individual to now gain access to Bitcoin through a big spot Bitcoin ETF and so forth and so on. It's so mirror-like. It's almost like I'm reliving the same freaking thing. And you know what a lot of people don't realize, people, is how a lot of people see, because I'm older than most people who are even watching me here today. I'm older than you are. And most people, most of you who are watching don't even realize that it was not legal to use the internet for commerce until 1994. Guys, in 1994, I'm an adult. I left Wall Street in 1993 and started my own firm in late 1993 and started my own firm in 1994. In 1994 is the year that the internet, it became legal to do commerce in the United States over the internet. That's crazy. Okay. And so it's almost as if I have lived exactly what we together are living through the eyes and the occurrences via Bitcoin today. I lived this already, which perhaps is why what's happening is, I believe, is so clear, crystal clear to me. There's almost nothing different. The pattern is absolutely the same, you know? And not only did I live it as a spectator, I lived it as a participant by being one of the OGs in this space for what was commonly referred to back then as direct access trading, electronic trading, which ultimately morphed into day trading, right? Which you hear today. And so I don't feel out of water with Bitcoin. I don't feel as though Bitcoin is absolutely revolutionarily new. I feel more like Bitcoin is an extension of this movement that I've been a part of for decades already. You see, the democratization of access to public markets is what I'm an OG participant in. All right. That whole era of democratizing, lowering the barrier to entry into the equity worlds was what I was a part of. And I helped to usher that in a variety of different ways. Right. And so this is the same thing that's sort of going on now. The democratization of property rights, the democratization of ownership and control of your own money is the same thing that's going on now. And so the internet, as we know it, has revolutionized in a relatively short period of time the way almost every single human being on earth lives today. It has changed the way we think, the way we believe. It has changed everything. It's changed the human species in so many radical different ways. It's given us access to things that we would have never had access to. It has exposed us to things that we would have never been exposed to. And that has to bring about change in the species itself. It's changed the way what we believe, what we love, how we love, our relationships, our sex lives, our education, our information, our photos, our music, our movies, our entertainment. It's touched every single freaking corner of the human experience. And it's not that long, because in 1994, it became legal, at least in the United States, to use the internet from a commercial point of view. That's not that long ago. Now, to some of you, it might be, but to me, I just remember I was a burgeoning adult at that particular time. And so this movement has just taken on, this democratization movement has just taken on, has just shifted to a different frequency, for lack of a better phrase. It's not a new movement. Democratization of markets, democratization of assets, the lowering access, the lowering of the barrier to entry into greater opportunity, greater access. That's not a brand new revolutionary movement. We're just experiencing this one spirit, this one movement through the ages. And Bitcoin, the way I see it, is just a new boost in that ongoing movement throughout history. And so the internet helped us to democratize everything except money. It fell short of money. And Bitcoin, in this relay race, has taken the baton from the internet and said, I will now run the freaking leg of our race for money. It's the democratization of money. It's the democratization of property ownership for every single freaking human being on earth. There was a time in human history when you and I mean, not us specifically, but you'll understand what I'm saying, right? We were not allowed access to books. Books were hoarded by the elite class. The priests of the world would not allow the masses to have access to books. Not that they could read at the time anyway, but the printing press democratized books, access to books, did it not? It gave it was open source technology for information, knowledge. Knowledge was hoarded in this closed source system by the freaking church. Am I right? You guys know your history, right? And what happened? The democratization of knowledge. Well, this start of democratization of knowledge. And this closed source system with knowledge did not stop entirely. It was just that the democratization of knowledge began with the printing press. And so the church could not stop the proliferation of books now, because anyone could now build their own printing press. You close that one down, this guy just started a new printing press. Or you close that one down, this guy in another country just created another printing press. Like, sound familiar? Right? Sound familiar? What we're going through now? Right? And then knowledge was still closed. Knowledge has been closed source. During my young adult life, certain level of knowledge you can only access through the Ivy League educational system. Bullshit. Closed system to knowledge, just another level. And the internet is breaking that shit up. Who needs to go into debt by $500,000 today for some Ivy League education, all of the knowledge of which is freaking keystrokes away, especially now with chat GPT, what is it? Chat GPT, whatever it is. AI, come on, really? That's silly. My grandkids are going to look back and say, you guys paid $500,000 to get educated by some old dudes in a building? Really? Seriously? You went into debt your whole lives for that? How stupid is that? Yeah, well, we did it for the connections. Wow. It's wild though, right? That's right. Chat BTC. That's what we need. An unbiased AI system that just has all of the BTC information on it, so that this AI system can just answer any question any human being has about BTC, but in an unbiased way. That's very difficult, right? That's very difficult. Oh, that's cool. Zed, Bitcoin, Tesla. I appreciate you being here. First time I've been able to catch you live. I'll stack some sats to celebrate. Yes, let's do that. They're bouncing Bitcoin around pretty nicely today, though, right? It's crazy to me, but I love it, guys. You know, I don't want you guys. Let me just do this for you. I don't want anyone here under my watch to be getting distracted, pulled away in any way, all right, by the little micro minutia and noise that's going on with the USD denominated price of Bitcoin. It's tiny, it's small, it's insignificant, and it's easy when you fail to step back to get pulled into the minutia. And I don't want you to do that. And I do spend quite a bit of time with it. Guys, I really don't like this term, but I can't find another way. I can't find another term that fits here. But I usually don't like this term, but I have to use it for lack of a better term. My Bitcoiners, I personally have an issue with that because no one's someone else Bitcoiner. I do realize that. But the people that I've helped to orange pill, that's what I mean, right? The people who have been orange pill because of me and stay close to me and I work with them. That's what I mean by my Bitcoiner. I don't mean it in any other way, not to claim credit as some person that controls the Bitcoiners out there. I don't do that, right? But I do want to show you something. You're looking at, this is a live chart of Bitcoin, right? It's a live chart. Now, I have two horizontal lines. This horizontal line at the upper horizontal line is showing you obviously where we are regarding the prior cycle's high. So if I can go back to this, this is the prior cycle's high right there. And it's showing you where we are. For the most part, it's showing you the prior cycle's high. And what I'm really trying to do is show you that we are right near the prior cycle's high. Okay? We're right near it. Now, I want to go back here and I want to show you, I want to show you the prior cycle's high last cycle. And I want to show you this is where we are. These two arrows, the first arrow to your left, right, shows you exactly the same period of time after the last cycle's halving as we are today. Today, the right side arrow shows you the exact period of time, about 9 weeks or so after the halving. So each arrow is 9 weeks after the halving. The first arrow to your lower left is 9 weeks after the halving in 2020, in the year 2020. The upper right-hand arrow is 9 weeks after our last halving 9 weeks ago. Now, look at each point in relationship to the prior cycle's high. We're right up against the prior cycle's high this cycle, but we were over 100% lower than the prior cycle's high at the same time, 9 weeks after the halving last cycle. This is insane. This is the most successful Bitcoin halving in its entire history. Do you understand this? We've never been right up against the prior high of the last cycle. Never. Do you understand the importance of this? We've never been this high in the Bitcoin halving cycle as we are now. This is the most successful Bitcoin halving in Bitcoin's history. So it's breaking its own records. Now, what's the significance of this? Think about it. Bitcoin's the best performing asset the world has ever known over the past 15 years. No asset is even, it's the best performing asset in the history of human mankind by orders of magnitude. And we're breaking, and it's breaking its own records over the last 15 years. It's already the best performing asset in the history of the human race. And it's now starting to break its own record. It has no other record to break but its own. It's breaking its own record. And we're applying this unrealistic expectation to it. Why isn't it performing? Are you a freaking bozo? Like, what's your IQ? What is your IQ? Tell me. Oh my God. So many people are missing this. We've never been here. And people are questioning, is Bitcoin okay? It's wild to me, you know? You have helped me more than you will ever know, OV, with garage of trading and Bitcoin. I appreciate that. Thank you. Guys, don't think I don't appreciate your comments. They're really very, very special to me. In fact, they help me keep going on because sometimes the bozos make me feel like, why am I even dealing with this? Why am I even being dragged to sub 80 IQ? Guys, I realize that's my cutoff. Like, I can go low on the IQ scale and deal with you, but below 80, that's I've come to realize 80 is my cutoff. So some of your comments help me keep going, though. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see, boss. Greetings from Canada. When are you coming? I kind of miss Canada. I know Canada's got a bad rap over the last few years, but I used to have a lot of time in Canada. Guys, I used to have a trading office in Canada, so I used to spend quite a bit of time in Canada back in the 1990s. Yes, Toronto and Montreal, 2 offices in Canada. Let's see. Bart T, here's a question. How do I get more fiat so I can get more BTC? Well, I'm going to give you 2 answers. The first answer is, I don't know. That is something that you have to figure out. That's the first answer I'll give you. If you want the answer that I would give my children, if they were to come to me with that, I'm going to give that to you. The answer I'd give to my children, not that you're a child, but it's the most caring and loving answer. That's what I mean by the answer I'd give to my children. Is it, well, son or daughter, you have to find the answer to that is how the answer to that question, how do I make more money, is inextricably intertwined with the question, how do I become more valuable to someone else? I mean, at the end of the day, people, making money is literally the measuring stick for how valuable you are to someone else, right? The more valuable you are to your fellow man, your fellow human being, will dictate how much money you have. In fiat worlds, clown world, that does get distorted, and that's what Bitcoin comes here to fix. But the way it's supposed to be is that deliver more value, find a way to become more needed, more useful to your fellow human being, and you won't have a problem with money. That is where we have to get back to. That is what Bitcoin delivers us back to. Think about this, guys. If we move to a true Bitcoin standard, where Bitcoin is the most valuable thing on planet Earth, number one. Number two, it cannot be stolen, confiscated, or taken by force. So think about these two things. The most valuable thing on planet Earth, which means that everyone on planet Earth wants it. Once Bitcoin becomes the most valuable thing on planet Earth, who doesn't want the most valuable thing on planet Earth? How many people say, no, I don't want the most valuable thing on planet Earth. I want the 15th most valuable thing on planet Earth. No, I want the 100th most valuable thing on planet Earth. Nobody. Once, Bitcoin becomes the most valuable thing on planet Earth at 700,000. That's not that far away for Bitcoin, by the way. So anyway, it becomes the most valuable thing outside of gold at $160,000. That's not that far away. We might be there by the end of the year. So when Bitcoin becomes the most valuable thing on planet Earth, it means that everyone on planet Earth will want it. And when the world realizes you can't steal it, you can't take it, you can't confiscate it, you can't debase it against your will, my will, then the only way the human race ever gains access to Bitcoin is by what? By delivering value to another Bitcoiner. You see, we're moving to a world where the only way you're going to be able to get the most valuable thing on earth is that you better be not only willing, but able to deliver something so special, so sublime, so earth-shattering, so amazing, so freaking valuable for this Bitcoiner to allow a little piece of what he has, a piece that's mathematically designed to enrich his family forever, even after his death, to let go of that. The most supreme, the most pristine thing on planet Earth, the only thing that will rise against every single thing in existence, the only thing that is eternal, and the only thing that will increase in value forever. You better come so correct. You better deliver something so special. This is going to raise the productivity of every single human being on earth every nation, every organization, every corporation. It's going to eliminate trinkets, and nonsense things will not be able to survive in the marketplace. No one's going to give up the most valuable thing for bullshit, for your trinkets, for your nonsense, for your shit that breaks down and doesn't last a long time, or for your ill-gotten this ill-gotten thing over here, bad manufactured thing over there. No one that comes with bullshit is going to be able to survive in a Bitcoinized world. Do you understand? Because no one's going to give up the most valuable thing on earth for bullshit. And so everyone's going to have to up their game or you die. Up your game or you die. Become valuable or you die. This is survival of the fittest in its purest form and the way it should be. No one weak should be able to survive. No one that can't keep up should be able to be kept in the freaking clan. You can't keep up, you're left behind. If you can't step up, you're left behind. You fail. Do you understand? If you can't rise to the occasion when it's your turn to rise to the occasion, you don't belong with us. It sounds cruel, but that's the fairest system on planet Earth. Up your game, man up, woman up, or be gone. And Bitcoin's going to bring that world back to us. Do you understand what I'm saying, people? This is fair. Why should someone have special rights because this mother and that father had sex with each other? Really? That's it? That's all that's required for you to be with us, for you to get special privileges because you were freaking born to these two people? Bullshit. That is clown world. Do your part. Deliver value. Not just because two people got together on some night after drinks and you get the same rights as me. No, Bitcoin is ending all of this clown world nonsense. Do you understand? No one's going to give up the most pristine thing on planet Earth for your bullshit. No one's going to give it to you just because your parents had sex one night. No one's going to give it to you because some other man called you king. Do you understand? This is bringing ultimate global fairness to the world. Deliver something of value to me or you get nothing. I love it. You don't love this? I love it. Who doesn't love that? I get chills. I don't know about you, but I get chills, guys. Will the government send us to jail for refusing to give up our crypto? Maybe. I am praying no. But I can't, in all honesty, say that that's a zero possibility. I can't say it's a 50-50 possibility because I think that the incentives built into Bitcoin have good odds of overcoming that. But could there be a period? Yes. Now, in mass, no. And this is why it's so important for us to achieve what's commonly referred to as the transigent minority. Now, the transigent minority is not the majority. It's a minority, but it's a powerful minority that becomes so vocal that they get what they want. And so one example of the transigent minorities, I think that the Jewish people, the people who share the Jewish faith, they've done a good job of becoming sort of like a transigent minority in a variety of different cultures that they're not even from. So for instance, you know, they demand kosher meats. And so most restaurants today, with with even a minority of Jewish people in the area will just make their meats kosher, because the people who are not interested in kosher meats don't mind. And so it's a win-win, right? I say, okay, let's just make all the meats kosher so we can eliminate this issue, because no one else who doesn't care really cares. So now all the meats are kosher. And we can take, as Bitcoiners, we can take a lesson from that. When enough people are Bitcoiners and demand kosher, right? The rest of the world's going to be like, well, yeah, I mean, they're not okay. That's fine. It's no difference to me. But we have to reach that transigent minority. Look that term up, transigent minority. A minority can be very popular, very powerful. You don't need a majority. You need a transigent minority. And so that's one of the reasons I spend time with you. I don't ask you for anything. I don't ask you for anything to talk to you, to be with you, to sit for hours answering your dumb questions. Some of them are dumb. But it's all for this collective movement to build this transigent minority. The minority is very powerful, and the majority yields to a transigent minority. We see this happening in US politics today, with former President Trump adopting a more pro-Bitcoin crypto stance, right? It's not because the majority of Americans own crypto. It's estimated maybe 50 million. There's 350 million Americans, 50 million, yet we've got presidential candidates pandering to the 50 million, starting to become that transigent minority. They become so loud, they feel like they're the majority. It feels like they're the majority. And now you wonder why my mouth is so big and I'm so loud. Trying to be the transigent minority, you know? How many OV fans are dreading the day? Right. Okay. So, yo, OV, how about just popping in monthly, quarterly in the future, not complete exit, pretty please? Yeah. So what Zed Bitcoin Tesla is referring to is about 2 years ago, I said that I would be dedicated to my posts here, answering questions here on x.com, and being a voice for Bitcoin until Bitcoin reaches 100,000. Now, in all honesty, I wish I made that 70,000, because I'd be gone by now. But I'm going to keep my promise. But I am going to exit, guys. I'm just not going to be here. This is not sustainable, what I do here. It's not. It's just not. I travel too much. I've got too many other things going on. I will be moving on to other things. But I will say this. A 100% exit, I'm not talking about. An occasional post, yeah, I'm just talking about being here every day, trying to like your responses, answer your posts, doing lives here. That's just not sustainable for me. And what I'm trying to do is leave behind a big enough library to basically reference. And I try to do my best, guys, to speak about things that are considered to be evergreen, meaning that you'll always be able to come back to our talks, our live sessions, my posts, and glean some value, whether it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, because I try to keep the content evergreen and not news oriented to the day. Now, there are some news oriented things. It's hard to get around that. But the majority of what I try to put out are things that will universally be valuable forever. And I consciously focus on that. I got this idea when going down the Bitcoin rabbit hole. I decided that I would go back to the beginning. What I mean by the beginning, guys, is 10 years before Bitcoin came into existence, and try to look at every single post, every single comment, every single tweet, every single Reddit post, every single Twitter post at the time, every single comment, every single article ever written about Bitcoin. And what I found was a rich, educational body of information. And what was fascinating to me was the stupidest things turned out to be valuable, because now we can look and see how stupid they were. But they served, even the stupid things served as glaring confirmation for certain things and certain outlooks and certain views, to see who was wrong and who was right, and when was this said, how early was this said, and how wrong did this turn out to be, and so forth and so on. And so I came up with this idea: what if I just leave behind a body of tweets, a body of posts, a body of live sessions and YouTube videos that people can reference in 2033, 2034, 2035, 10 years from now? And let's see where I land. Today, people go all the way back to 1994, 1995, and pull up some of my live speeches in 94, 95. Some people send me copies of photos of the materials that I put out in the mid 1990s. Some of the interviews I had in the late 1990s, early 2000s, and that body of work for the traditional financial world, trading, financial markets, still stands the test of time today. I want to do the same thing for Bitcoin. And we'll see where I line up. I can't say that I'm going to be 100. Nobody can say they're going to be 100% right on what vision they have and what they see unfolding for over the next 10 years or so. But given my experience, I believe that I won't be too far off. Otherwise, if I did, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So, of course, naturally, I don't believe I'm going to be too far off 10 years from now. I believe that I am reliving something that I've lived before through the personal computer age. When I was in high school, I remember people saying, this is a toy and will never gain mass attraction. The personal computer, when I was in high school. And I remember later out of high school into my early adulthood, people saying cell phones were a toy and something for the super rich to play with, but would never gain mass adoption. I lived through that. And then I lived through when people said the internet is for porn and for illegal activity. That's never going to gain mass attraction. Nobody's ever going to put their credit card on the internet and buy anything with it. And I lived through that. I've lived through the personal computer revolution or evolution, depending upon how you want to look at it. I lived through the democratization of Wall Street. I lived through the cell phone revolution, evolution. I lived through the internet revolution, evolution. And now I'm living through the Bitcoin revolution, evolution. These cycles are almost freaking identical. And I feel like my feet are on as solid of a ground as they possibly can be on, because it's sort of like me watching the same freaking movie with the same actors and the same script, the same FUD, the same negativity, the same titles of articles. It's like deja vu. It's like Groundhog's Day all over again. And that is why I can feel so certain about the next 10 years, because I've lived the next 10 years over and over and over again. And so I try to be a voice, an older voice, especially for the younger people who don't have the benefit of having lived through these cycles before, and they feel it's new, but there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing, people. I'm not saying that everything repeats the same, but you know, as the saying goes, it certainly rhymes. And it's rhyming like a mofo. Bitcoin's rhyming like a mofo for anything and everything I've lived through my adult life. You know what to do? Go to work, continue to study, guys. Your conviction is directly tied to how much you know and understand about Bitcoin. And the rabbit hole is very deep. I still continue to learn every day. I strongly encourage that you do so. This conviction is the key to your family's future wealth. You must growing your conviction is growing your future, the future of your family, the wealth of your family. Your bloodline is directly tied to your conviction. Your conviction is inextricably intertwined with your level of understanding, knowledge. So you have to continue to study every single day. All right. And if you can't stack every day, you got to stack every week. All right, guys. Ciao for now. All right. Boom. Oliver Velez from Madrid, Spain, signing out. Ciao.